Hey, what's up everybody? This is my review of Masters of the Universe Classics Man-E Faces. And this review is really cool for me because this is my very first Masters of the Universe Classics action figure. So I'm really looking forward to getting the figure outside of the packaging and taking a look at the figure itself. But as you can see here, this is what they call the white mailer box that the actual figure comes in. Pretty plain. Of course, it has the logo here, name of the character. It says Adult Collector down there, and Mattel. And that really is all you have for the actual mailer box. And here is the actual figure in package, and it's a nice looking package. You've got some lightning deco here going down the sides of the packaging. And you can see there's the name of the character. Pretty nice design for the package. And on the back here you got the other figures that you can collect. Roboto, Mossman, of course He-Man, Battleground Teela, which I would like to get. Looks really a really nice female action figure, and Buzz-Off. And here is the bio for Man-E Faces. So please feel free to pause and read that if you'd like to. And of course they want you to collect them all. So one thing you'll notice here is the head is detached from the figure. Now when I bought this off of eBay, the seller was upfront about that, but it appears you can just attach it to the torso. There should be no problem. At least that's what I'm hoping anyways. So it looks like it's a packaging error. But you can see there clearly the head is detached from the body. So with that said, I'm going to get this figure opened up and take a closer look at the figure itself. So let's go ahead and take a look at Man-E Faces in detail. And of course the first thing we're going to take a look at is the face. And here you can see here's the first face, which I guess you could describe as the more human face. But you can simply turn this purple knob here and you can go and change it to the robotic face. Really cool. And of course the vintage 1980s toy also had this feature. And finally the third face here, the monster face. Really nice sculpt. And let's look at the figure itself as well. Lots of nice detail. Nice purple, I like that. Almost a metallic purple. You can see that there is a lot of muscle definition, and they do use a little bit of highlight in terms of paint to sort of give a shadow effect to his six-pack there. So that's pretty cool. He's got a port there, I'm not sure what that's for. He's got one on the other arm at the elbow. And of course, he got these nice looking mechanical type of armor on his legs. So moving on to accessories for Man-E Faces, you do get this blaster, and you can see here it's pretty nicely detailed, just one color. And just as a comparison, here on the right is the vintage 1980s Man-E Faces weapon. So you can get a side-by-side comparison there. This vintage one actually looks a bit bigger than the classics version. But yeah, you can see the color difference too as well. This one's a more reddish orange as opposed to the more solid orange on the newer one. Man-E Faces does hold his weapon quite nicely in the right hand. You do have to pry open the fingers in order to get the handle in there, but what that means is the figure is not going to drop it. If you take a look at the left hand, the sculpt of the hand is actually looser, so you can get the handle in there, although it's a very loose fit. As you can see there, it doesn't really want to stay in very well at all. So for the final accessory, it's one accessory you do not see in the package, and so when I removed the figure from packaged, I was really delightfully surprised to see there is an additional head, and not just an additional head, but a tri-faced head with Orko, what appears to be He-Man, and Skeletor. And what you can do is you take this purple cap here, unplug it from the top of the head, take the head off, and you can see you can switch out the head for the alternate head, and it works the same way. So it's really cool that Matty Collector, Mattel, included this additional head for Man-E-Faces. Really nice touch, and really brings the figure way up, in my opinion, in terms of desirability, and just really, really awesome. In terms of Man-E-Faces articulation, there is no movement at the neck, which is okay because you have the rotating faces. You have articulation at the shoulders, the bicep, the elbow, and a swivel at the wrist. You do have ab articulation, waist articulation, and you do have articulation at the hip and a swivel at the thigh, as you can see there. A single point of bend at the knee, and this is really cool, a swivel at the boot, and a single point of articulation at the ankle. So the very first thing I noticed about this figure as I removed it from packaging is how tall he is. And just to illustrate that, I'll go ahead and measure him on camera. And he stands a very healthy 7.5 inches tall. So really nice height of this figure. And just to illustrate that further, I'll bring in some size comparisons. Here is a DC Universe Classics Kyle Rayner as the Green Lantern, and you can see he is definitely shorter. And I always thought that these DC Universe Classics figures were really tall, but as you can see, compared to Man-E-Faces here, he is just quite a bit shorter. Next up, we'll bring in Marvel Legends Toy Biz Spider-Man. So I really like the height on this figure. And also bring in a current Marvel Legends figure, Phantom X. So really nice height advantage. Now I have a special treat for you because I will do a comparison right now of the vintage Man-E-Faces figure compared to the modern Man-E-Faces. Now granted, the legs here kind of tend to spread apart, but if we go like this, you can still see that's quite a big difference in terms of height. So really nice to see that Matty or Mattel has updated the figure both in terms of functionality and in terms of just the overall size, and as well as the detail, as we'll get into in this review. So if we take a look at the old versus the new, obviously there is a dramatic height difference, but the design element from the old does carry over to the new. You can see this type of harness here is present in the new figure on his chest, and you can see also the thigh armor here with the purple color on his above his knee there does carry over to the new figure as well, in addition to the purple here on his pelvic area. That does carry over on the new figure as well. So Mattel has done a great job at basically taking an older figure and updating it for the newer generation of collectors. And as a 1980s kid, I really appreciate both the old and the new, and the fact that they did improve on the newer Man-E-Faces figure in so many ways. And even carrying over into the face sculpt, very similar in both the old and the new. And I'll go ahead and rotate around here, and we'll just do the comparison of all three faces here. You can see very similar design. And finally we'll take a look at the monster face. As you can see here, this is a lighter green as opposed to the darker green here in the newer figure. And you can see this face is more, it seems to be more comical as opposed to this one in the newer figure. So really nice to see the differences, but yet also the similarities between the new figure and the old figure. So final thoughts on Masters of the Universe Classics Man-E Faces. I have to say I really like this figure a lot. And I remember as a kid growing up in the 1980s, I really liked the Man-E Faces character. He was one of my favorite characters from the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon. And I do remember playing with the actual figure as well. I never really owned it, but I did have a friend, I believe, who had that figure. So this toy really brings back a lot of good memories. And I really like the fact that Mattel basically kept the same design of Man-E Faces, just made him a bigger figure. Really nice on Mattel's part. The second thing I really like about this figure is the additional accessory, the head accessory, where you get 3 additional faces. So that really adds to the wow factor, to the playability factor, and way to go Mattel for including that head accessory. So definitely a recommended pickup. I paid a total of $30 for this figure. So $20 for the actual figure plus about $8 or $9 and change for the shipping. And I think it is well worth it. I'm really pleased with the figure. I'm happy with it totally. Really like it. Alright, this has been my review of the Masters of the Universe Classics Man-E Faces.